And we're off. Welcome to the Commonwealth Connections podcast. This is your host, Weston Wilson, with co-host, as always, Dawson Fields. Today in the studio, we have Alex Coates, owner of Goodfellas, co-owner of Goodfellas. We are really excited to have them on and talk about their story. They birthed here in Lexington and had their first location downtown and have been a staple since. So, Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. So, Alex, let's start it off how we normally do. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to college? All that good stuff.
Grew up Lexington, Kentucky. Went to grade school, Mary Queen.
Okay.
Catholic school guy. Italian Catholic family, so had to go Catholic. But then went to Lafayette High School. So public school switch for high school. And then University of Kentucky was college, and huge Cats fan, and kind of disappointed this morning, but that Cal left us. But we will roll on.
We'll see what the next chapter holds.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Had to end at some point.
Yes. So grew up in Lexington. Let's see here.
What'd you go to college for?
Business administration. So that's great, but also got a secondary degree in web design, which kind of helped out later on when we were building Goodfellas. Let's see here. Mom side of the family, Italian New Yorkers, come from Long Island, New York. Dad, Lexingtonian. They went to school at Weston, and Mom could not get Dad to move back up to New York, so he's from Lexington. We stayed in Lexington. Got a brother and a sister who actually were a big part of the growth of Goodfellas. Jeff Coates actually helped in the kitchen, and my sister Lauren helped with the admin side, and she's still with us. Jeff has since moved on and is doing great in his profession, but they helped along the way. And my business partner is Eric Boggs. He is a Lafayette general as well. We actually knew each other in high school, but didn't really get to know each other and become business partners until after college.
Okay.
So the way the story goes for Goodfellas is, I knew Boggs in high school and kept seeing this fella out, at these bars, Redmond's, Cheapside, downtown bars. And I was like, I know this guy. And we started to get to know each other a little bit more outside of college, because I didn't really know him at college or in college as well. But I'd see him at these bars, and we became friends. And one night we were kind of hopping around and wound up at the Rosebud and saw an opportunity. We saw the Rosebud, or across from the Rosebud was a for rent sign. And I looked at Boggs and I said, man, what would make a great idea at 1 o'clock in the morning is what I remember as a kid is, some pizza by the slice. Right now, I would crush some pizza by the slice. So he's like, man, that sounds like a great idea, because all the bars or all the restaurants down here close at like 11, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, so we need something late. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, great. So sure enough, I called him the next morning, and he was like, were you serious? I was like, absolutely. So a little bit more backstory is I owned a small piece of an accounting firm, so I was an accountant. I was also a real estate guy on the weekends. I was a jack of many trades. I was always just an entrepreneur. Like as a kid, when my parents were building our house, I saw an opportunity because all these other homes were being built. And I said, Mom, will you take me up to the grocery store, and I need to buy a bunch of hamburger meat, hot dogs, Mountain Dews, things like that. And I started hustling burgers and stuff on the street as a 12-year-old. So
awesome.
While Mom and Dad were building this house, I was like, as soon as I fire up this grill, all these construction guys are going to come over here because they're going to smell this. And there you go. That's one story of just the entrepreneur spirit, right? That just always looking to hustle. And I had a window tinting business at like 16, and just always trying to hustle something, baseball card trading, all kinds of stuff. But so I had this accounting practice, and after calling Boggs, I call him Boggs, his name's Eric Boggs, but I call him Boggs, we all call him Boggs. I said, let's get up here to my office and we'll formulate a business plan, because that's what you got to do. Didn't really have any money. Mom was a teacher, Dad was a carpenter. both his parents were teachers as well. So, hey, mom and dad, can I get some money? That's not there. So how are we going to do this, right? Well, you got to go to a bank. So we need to formulate a business plan. And we worked on that for a couple months after hours, worked real late on this business plan, formulating, hey, what's our projections? What are we forecasting to do at this 600 square foot? It's actually 650 square feet. It is probably the best operating per square foot restaurant you've ever heard of. I mean, it does really well for 650 square feet. So anyways, we're formulating this business plan, and we finally get it finished, and now it's time to go get some money. And we're like, this plan is going to be flawless, right? We're going to walk into the first bank. Have we got an opportunity for you? And they're going to give us this money. I think we only asked for like 75 grand. It wasn't a lot. It was a small amount because we were going to do all the work ourselves. We were going to paint the walls. We had to fix the floor joist, do all this work. Again, my dad was a carpenter, and I saw all the repairs throughout my childhood and kind of always asking Dad, hey, what are you doing here? How are you laying that tile or doing this or that? So kind of had that in me as well, kind of a handyman type. But we go to the first bank, and the fella actually hit me up a couple weeks ago after 18 years and just said, hey, congratulations on your new Desperados Cantina, the taco concept we just launched. It's funny because I'll always remember him as the first bank that turned us down. we walked in there, man. We were, suited and booted. We had ties on and just pitched him, just hard pitch. We're 23 years old. I mean, so here's some 23, 24-year-old kids coming in and saying, have we got an idea for you? And I think our forecasted sales for year one were like 100 grand. It was nothing. It was horrible, but we thought it was a lot of money. But the reason why is because we were only going to be open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. until 3 a.m. So only opening the doors to feed a line of people. We knew that would keep costs down, that would keep the labor down, that would keep the electricity down. All the costs would be low, and we would only open the door when the register was ringing. So that was the idea. So sure enough, we got declined. Like, okay, yeah, this isn't a very good business plan, guys, but and you're a restaurant, which is a huge risk for a bank with no assets, we're going to pass. And we're like, well, yeah, your loss. And we decided to go to the second bank, the third bank, and the fourth bank, and the fifth. We went to 10 different banks and got declined. We tried every bank. Do you know a bank, or do you know another bank in town? We tried a lot. And finally, the 11th bank took a gamble on two young kids that had no idea what they were doing. We didn't even come from a pizza background. Boggs had a culinary background, like as far as catering and things, doing large events for horse farms and things like that. But as far as operating a pizzeria, no clue. So the 11th bank, National City Bank, Beth Medina, if you're listening, thank you, took a gamble on some kids and gave us the loan. And that was pretty much just the money to get all the equipment. There was like 10 grand left over for build out, which was nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for 600 square feet, it's not bad.
Yeah, but we're hustling. We're finding defective tiles, anything we could get to make this thing work. We seriously just had a bunch of friends come down with some beer and paint walls and help lay tile, and it was pretty interesting. I helped hang the hood. We ran wire. We helped the plumber. We were under the crawl space. Anything we could do to cut the cost down and make this thing happen. And that's what we did. And we finally built it out, and we're like, okay, what do we do now? We've never had a staff, or we don't even know how to make pizza. So what do? You go to the competition and you hire their staff. So we knew of a friend. His name was Craig Fairhurst, and he worked at Pazzo's. He wasn't a manager or anything. He was just an employee. And he was going to help us cultivate our recipe, the same recipe we use to this day. And what we did was we hired him, and we're like, all right, teach us how to make dough, sauce, and we can go from there. So that's what we did. We started with a recipe A, and then we went with a recipe B, and we kind of filtered through all those recipes. We like crust A, not crust B. Okay, A wins for us. Then let's make a recipe B. Okay, we've got our 2 finalists on dough. All right, how are we going to see what people like? So what did we do? We made pizza and walked around from bar to bar. That's our marketing, right? This is going to be our customer. Let's see what they like. We're doing a true New York style pizza by the slice place. Which crust do you like, A or B? And we would tally it. 100 tally marks. Okay, A won this round. And then we did it again next week. Let's try a different recipe B. So we went around seriously just testing different recipes and then cultivating what we thought was going to be a true New York style pizza. And that's the Goodfella's recipe today. So really the city of Lexington, the downtown community, created Goodfella's.
That's awesome.
It is.
How many test runs did you guys do like that?
So we really just wanted to find the 3 basics of what make a great pizza. And that's the crust, the sauce, and the cheese. And we knew what cheese we were going to use. Hands down, we tried a dozen different ones, and every single time we're like, that's the best, that's the best. So I'd say we probably did maybe 6 rounds of testing. So
That's a lot of pizza,
that is. And then, people
especially
be
with only
banging on-
$10,000 left.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, we didn't have any money in the bank when we hired everybody. It was really scary. So after we got our recipe down, it was time to get a staff. And it was just like, hey, someone who needs a job? And we didn't have a clue what we were doing. Again, we're 23 years old. We just don't know what we're doing. We've had no mentor, nobody, not even someone with the management experience in the restaurant. We're just kind of trial and error, everything we do. So we've got a recipe, and now we got to hire staff. So we just asked some friends, hey, do you have someone who's interested? Yes. And we got a small crew of 10 people. And I just remember opening night, it was Thursday. Larry Redmond was on stage, and he's like, my friends across the street are opening a pizza place, and you guys should all go over there afterwards. And hats off to Larry Redmond. He was a big advocate and just a supporter of us as, just some young guys who was in this bar. And he really helped us out because he was always pushing his crowd after hours to Goodfellas. So really appreciate that. But opening night, we had our 10 employees, and I just remember standing in front of them saying, guys, we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to serve excellent pizza. That's the goal. The best pizza anyone's ever had. And if we can't accomplish that or pretend like it is our family members that's standing across that counter, then it is not good enough to serve our guest. This has to be good enough for grandma, mom. And that's the mentality. So night 1 was pretty exciting. I'm there serving pizza to all the big line formed down the street, just like it always does at Mill Street. And we opened at 10 p.m. and closed at 3. And our first night, without any advertising or anything, was $700, and I thought we had a home run. $700. And, it was, I'd never forget, we put it on a big whiteboard in the back, $700 Thursday night. Friday night, $900. Saturday night, $1,000, whatever it was. It was just really exciting to see that people wanted our pizza. And story continues because months pass and we're still keeping that model, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday model. And we knew we wanted to build demand because we wanted to open, but we weren't going to open just and sit around and hope people were walking in. So we wanted enough demand to build, and we started getting people asking when we're going to do lunch. Well, just, hold your horses. We're working on it. We're still trying to get our menu down or whatever. And we finally decided maybe 6 months later to open for lunch. But I got to rewind a little bit because after we opened for 3 months, I don't know if anybody remembers, but our little restaurant burnt down, caught fire. It's really funny because we were actually in Vegas at the time, or came back from Vegas to this happening, and they're like, all right, so a couple of guys open a store called Goodfellas, their place burned down, and they're in Vegas. Like, this doesn't even sound right, right? Yeah. But no, it was a legitimate fire, and it was an accident. One of our employees had left some boxes close to the pizza oven and caught fire. But we were going to rally back, and we reopened the store, and we were opening for lunch. But we only we went from the hours were going to be Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then closed down. So the hours on the door were very comical, if you will. It would be like Monday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then Friday would be 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., back open at 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. And it was just really funny that's how we built demand, because when we opened the door for lunch, we had a line. And sure enough, people were asking for dinner. Hey, I want to bring some of these pizzas home to my family, some of the attorneys downtown and bankers and things. So after we built up enough demand with lunch, we decided to open full time, and our hours were open ever since.
What did you do on your projections that first year?
Yeah,
So you said you were projecting, 100,000.
Yes.
What'd you end up finishing that first year with?
So year one, I'm pretty sure, but we were closed 3 months. So we also opened in February. So it was like 300 grand, I think. It wasn't too shabby considering we were 100.
Yeah, well, that's 3 extra projections.
Yeah,
That's pretty
exactly.
good, I'd say.
Then I remember when we went full time, we were probably 500 to 600K, and I was like, wow, we've got a business. And that's when I kind of threw in the towel on the accounting and hustling real estate on the side. But I've always had an eye for real estate. Like, oh, that'd be a good pizza place right there. Man, that'd be good for this product or anything. Just always had an eye for an opportunity in real estate. And that kind of had its advantages later on after we started expanding.
Yeah. Was the fire almost a blessing in disguise because you all got a lot of media around that and essentially like a bunch of free advertising?
Oh yeah, we're familiar with media coverage. We can talk about that later. Yes, we got a little bit of action, but it was just like a small thing and not too much, any results from that media coverage. But, people knew about Goodfellas now being downtown and we caught fire. But we were only closed, I think it shut us down about 3 months. So we were open 3 months, shut down 3 months, and then stayed open since.
So, you guys are open, full hours now. You got your downtown location. It's been a couple of years under your belt. What are you guys thinking?
So, we're thinking, wow, this bank account's growing. And, between Boggs and myself, we said, hey, let's sit still. Let's grow this thing. Just keep watching the bank account increase because you never know rainy day is going to come. And we had ambitions of expanding this concept. We want to bring great pizza to different markets. Is there another opportunity in Lexington? Is there one in Louisville? So the ideas were going at about year 2 or 3 when we realized we actually had something that people wanted. But we did sit still for about 5 years, and that was a struggle because we weren't really taking much of a paycheck. I think our paycheck was about $1,000 a month, and that's not much to live off of.
Yeah.
The stories there are real. Any entrepreneur that's trying to grow something has had to struggle at some point. And I remember Boggs, he was in his parents' basement. I was just trying to make ends meet as well. And it wasn't all glitz and glam. Like everyone's like, oh, you got a successful business. Yeah, you're rich. No, that's not true at all. Like we've got a plan and you've got to sacrifice some of the things in order to get to your goals. So we sat still, and about year 5, 2010, an opportunity came to us, and it didn't require much, capital investment. So a friend, who's now a great friend, Seth Bennett, Two Keys Tavern, word came through, I guess, one of our staff members that their kitchen was empty, for a couple years when this opportunity came to us. And, hey, you need to go chat with Seth Bennett over at Two Keys. Oh, man, we don't want to be inside of someone else's place or bar. We want our own identity. Well, he's serious and he'd like to chat with you. And I remember we sat down and talked to Seth, and he's like, guys, I need you in my bar. I want to keep the students here for Thirsty Thursdays or whatever, the old traditional Two Keys Tavern. I need to keep them here, and I need your pizza. So name your lease. And we're like, are you serious? That's, not going to work. He's like, no, I'm serious. I want you, so whatever it takes. So we made a great deal, and here we go. We're going to be inside of the world-famous Two Keys Tavern. And the build-out on that, Seth took care of, and we just put some equipment in there and started operating. We had our slice case. We took care of his in-house customers. We had some great times with some championship runs, and it was a good 7 years at the Two Keys Tavern. But we had to kind of supplement the sales with delivery. This is where we tried and attempted to deliver our pizza. And we feel that the delivery model wasn't what we wanted, and we now know that, because we want people to come in, experience a really, really hot slice of pizza, high quality, and whenever you put a pizza in a box and deliver it, even 5 minutes, it just starts losing the integrity of the product. So we didn't really like this model, but it helped keep everything rolling, and the profit was there, so we could grow to our ultimate goal, was to go into different cities. So we did that. But
And I feel like that was smart too, because if you're at Two Keys or at Tin Roof, you're probably not going to walk all the way to your
Mill Street.
location.
Correct.
There's a chance if you really want your pizza.
So it's a different.
But there's enough restaurants over there that were open that, I mean, Cane's existed during that time, right? They were open till 3 a.m. There's enough stuff where, unless you really wanted Goodfellas, you're probably just going to walk someplace closer.
Right.
And so you're able to kind of supplement that side of the nightlife market as well as your Mill Street side, which was also probably 2 separate demographics. Correct. As well.
That's where I was going. 2 different demographics. We've got a college, age group, and then we've kind of got like that young professional mixed in with college downtown.
Right.
So we were like, yeah, it's only like 4 blocks away from each other, but this could work. So that was our hesitation before we did the Two Keys deal. But when we got in there, sales were great, but only when Two Keys was busy, like you said. Lunch was a struggle. Who's going to go into a dark bar for lunch? It was a struggle. So we're like, well, we can deliver our product, and that's what we did. But, the margins, were difficult to work with. And after about 7 years, we're like, look, there's always an issue, right? Someone got a cold pizza, and we got to refund them, or we forgot to deliver their 2-liter, and now we got to run it back out. And there was just a lot of problems in the delivery game that we weren't very comfortable with. So we eventually, had to part ways. Great terms, no hard feelings, but we had other goals. So we were still in Two Keys when we decided to start wandering around other markets, we looked at Louisville because everyone was asking us, you got to come, you got to come, you got to come. We're like, oh, we'll check it out. And it was just, Louisville has different pockets. It's not really like just, downtown is the big entertainment district. That's really where we thrive, entertainment districts, walking foot traffic. And, but when we did visit Cincinnati, we found a couple neighborhoods that had bars and restaurants, and they were real tight communities. So Boggs and myself found ourselves out one night in Cincinnati in a neighborhood called the Main Strauss Village. It's actually in northern Kentucky, in Covington. And we're kind of jumping back and forth, having fun, had some, we're at a restaurant, then we're at a bar, and just a lot of walking traffic, a lot of energy. And we noticed next to this popular spot called the Cock and Bull, there was a building, and it was just a rental building. There were some tenants living in there. There was no commercial aspect to it on the bottom floor, but it had a for sale sign. And we're like, this is exactly what we're looking for, because we really wanted to go to owning the dirt instead of just operating under a landlord. And we're like, man, this is great. Just don't know if we can afford something like this. Let's call the sign and let's figure out if we can get it. Well, we had a food truck at the time. So we were also hustling a food truck out of Two Keys, another way to increase the sales. So we were doing festivals all around. And I remember calling upon, there was old Long John Silver's on Nicholasville Road. And I was like, oh, let me call and see what that's all about. And the broker on the property, his name's Alex Donahue, he's still our broker today. He's like, well, guys, you don't want that one, but put your food truck up there. He knew we had a food truck. He said, just park your food truck up there for a couple months. Big billboard. Like, okay. So that's how we met Alex Donahue. Then we put Alex Donahue on the Covington property to get it for us. I think it was listed at $225 or something like that. And we were very excited to get this property at $225. And he's like, well, let me hammer him down a little bit and I'll get back to you. And I was like, please don't blow this deal up. I remember he called me one day when we were working the deal and said, guys, tell me you love me. I'm like, okay. He said, I got it for $185. Like, man, you shot them $185. And, you could have blown this deal up. We really wanted the property. He's like, well, it's yours now, $185. So we got to work on that property. But it's kind of like a shotgun with 3 floors. And we've always dealt with ground floor work. What are we going to do with these other 2 floors above? We've got a basement, first floor, second floor, and third floor in this building that we just purchased. What are we going to do? Well, we've never, entertained selling alcohol at Goodfella's, because the one downtown, we don't even have a seat in. It's just, a walk-in place.
You can fit 5 people in there. So
there's 5 people. So in order to have liquor license, you have to have restrooms and seats and things. So we've never, and in Two Keys, we were inside of a bar. So we would like to get into the bar game. And well, what do we do here? A new challenge. We don't know anything about it. But what's going to complement New York style, this Rat Pack mafioso theme? Let's go with like a speakeasy concept that focuses on Kentucky bourbon, but we're going to do a hidden bar, if you will, on the second floor. And that's where we birthed like the Wise Guy, where we birthed the Wise Guy Lounge. And that was going to be very, very heavy focus on Kentucky bourbon. And this was before a big bourbon boom in northern Kentucky. So we were kind of the pioneers. We asked our vendors, we said, give us every bourbon made. And they're like, what are you talking about? Yes, we want every label. And when that Van Winkle comes out, we'll buy anything you'll sell us. And I remember they would sell us cases of the stuff. So kind of pioneered that, and people really gravitated toward this big whiskey boom in northern Kentucky. And we focused on pre-prohibition cocktails, so really classic made cocktails, and that's the Wise Guy Lounge. Bourbon heavy, excellent executed cocktails. And we came up with a great marriage, but it was really hard to advertise a speakeasy that's inside of a pizza place. So that was another challenge as well. But that was an instant success, our Covington property. We had lines down the street as well for our pizza. And then they'd stumble upstairs and discover the Wise Guy Lounge and try this thing called Kentucky bourbon that they're in Cincinnati. They're pretty heavy on vodka. Tito's is a big one. But we kind of introduced and educated Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati on the bourbon culture. And it took off.
Would they ask for seating? You're like, yeah, go check it out upstairs. Then they'd just walk into a speakeasy.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah,
Did y'all even have seating on the ground floor?
We had some bar stools, kind of like an eat-up rail. So it was just a long countertop with some bar stools underneath, but there wasn't enough seating. Hey, go check out upstairs. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah. Was there more seats upstairs?
Yes. We had lounge furniture, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like, our tufted leather sofas, and it's
Yeah,
more like
that's
a
cool.
lounge. Yeah. So it was comfortable. You could actually eat one of our giant 22-inch pizzas. I mean, it'd take up the whole coffee table, but you had a place to sit down and eat.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that sucker gets rocking. How was figuring out the whole liquor side? There's a whole different, you got to have a bartender staff. That's a different skill set than just your average kitchen worker.
Yes.
Your average kitchen worker, you can recruit that pretty easy. It's a little bit harder to find a high-end cocktail making bartender.
Right.
And then there's different food costs associated with that, and inventory management, which is really important in a bar.
Yes. Big challenge.
You can lose some flour, and it's not that big of a deal because it's so cheap. If you lose some pappy, you're hurting.
Right. So what we did is, again, back to the principle, hey, we don't have the experience here, but we need to hire someone who does have experience with alcohol and someone we trust. And Bill Whitlow, great friend, lived in Lexington at the time, was with the BHG group. And he was very passionate about craft cocktail culture and whiskey. And we said, hey, we're getting ready to start this idea up here. What do you think? And he's like, can I do it my way? We're like, yes, but here's what we want. Bourbon heavy, like pre-prohibition style cocktails, executed perfectly. Not a bunch of, just foo-fooey drinks. We want to do excellent classic cocktails. He's like, that's right up my alley. I'm moving up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was kind of the key ingredient. Bill was a huge factor in the success of Wise Guy Lounge. And he was with us 5-6 years before he ventured out and did his own brand, Rich's Proper. And now he has the Opal, which is a rooftop restaurant in Cincinnati, and he's very successful. He's got his Winsel whiskey now. He actually blends whiskey. So very big success story with him. But he kind of showed us the bar side of things. Now we're very educated on that and control our inventory very well. But it takes a team, right? You can't just say, I know everything. You've got to surround yourself by people who can pick you up. And that's what we do. And Bill was a big contributor to that. So he helped us open our next location 2 years after we opened our Covington location in 2012. 2 years later, in 2014, we opened downtown Cincinnati in the Over the Rhine neighborhood, which was very successful. Lots of traffic, walking, restaurants, bars, a lot of action. What we noticed is that Vine Street had all been gentrified. So here's the real estate part, right? We saw 3CDC, which is a development company, that they helped gentrify all of Vine Street. You just saw a new restaurant, new bar, new buildings, new paint, all this going on here. And then to the east, 3 blocks, because we're on Main Street in Cincinnati. So it's Vine and then Walnut and then Main. But they were getting ready to open this new casino, the Horseshoe. And we're like, wow, they're putting a lot of money, $100 million, whatever it takes to open a casino, right to the east, right to the west. There's $100 million in gentrification going on, and Main Street's untouched. We need to buy some land right here on Main Street. And we kind of went out that night that we were just site surveying, if you will. We wanted to see the action at night. And there were people everywhere at all these little dive bars. We're like, this is exactly where we need to be. And we sat tight. I guess we started looking in 2013, and we finally got the deal in 14. As soon as we opened because we bought the property there in over the Rhine. It's called OTR. We bought that property, renovated it, gutted everything, renovated it. It was a huge success immediately, and it helped us further that Wise Guy Lounge and Goodfella's brand in the Cincinnati market. Well, we had a lot of Lexingtonians who would visit, go into Reds games or whatever, and hey, you got these 2 bars up here in Cincinnati, but you don't have one in Lexington. When are you going to do that? We're like, well, we don't really know. We're trying to go to, bigger cities, try to go to Columbus or Nashville. And that's where we really want to expand. We don't know if there's much more entertainment district in Lexington besides downtown. Where else would we go? We've already been on campus. We've been downtown. Where are we going to go for foot traffic? And it was a huge gamble, but we got a phone call one day from Tony Higdon, and he said, hey, I got a property for you. We're like, man, we're really not interested in Lexington, but we'll look at it. He said, it's in an old distillery. It's called the James Pepper Distillery. We're like, well, we know. We've heard about it. We've been down there a couple of times. We like it. Feels kind of like a field party, but we'll go check out your property. It doesn't really have the foot traffic we're looking for, and there's no side streets for parking. So again, it's a real estate mindset that we have before we go with a Goodfellas, and we're like, this isn't going to work out. There's no surrounding homes. There's no side streets to park on. It's in a defunct distillery. Not ideal, but we'll check it out. So he brought us down there. It was in May. I never forget it. And we're walking up on it, and like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And Ethereal had just opened up a local brewery, and they do a great job. And we're checking it out, and I remember walking in the space. There's no patio. It's just mud. We walk in the actual building. There's no floor. It's mud. Every single window in the place is busted out. There's no roof. There's birds flying all in it. And Tony's like, what do you think? He turns to Boggs and myself, and we're like, we're in. This will make an awesome restaurant. He's like, are you serious? We're like, yes, we can see it. Visualize it. Just step back, look at it. Crawling with people, it'll be awesome. I mean, our projections were way, way less than we thought they would be, but we knew it would make it, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have done the deal. But we put all the money on the table and said, let's go. And our landlords are awesome. Chris Kelly, he helped. He's the other part of the partnership with the Pepper Distillery there. And he believed in us too, and it was off to the races, and we created an awesome space. I mean, that's our flagship out of all of our locations. We have 10 locations now, but the distillery is we love it.
It's just beautiful in there. I mean, that remodel, y'all crushed it. Even just like down to the door, like the front door is just like sick.
Yeah, it's
it hits you before you even walk in. You know, it's like the door. You open the door, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah, thank you. So we stay humble, but Boggs and myself, we credit ourselves to really having an eye for design and a good palate, because we try all our cocktails too. And but we're like, what can we do to make this kind of secretive as well? And we're going to put those speakeasy doors on the front where it's kind of got like that peek hole in it. Then, the patio was just going to be concrete. Like that was the landlord's ideal. Hey, I'll just pour all this concrete. And we discovered a bunch of pallets of bricks in the actual James Pepper Distillery because they were abandoned. But there were all these pallets of these bricks that are stamped like Louisville, Ashland, Kentucky, and all these different cities. And we're like, what are you doing with all these bricks? They're like, oh, well, we don't know. It's like, let's put them on the patio. I mean, there's going to be a lot of labor, but it should be an offset cost. Let's do it. They're like, yeah, you think? I was like, yeah, this would be awesome. So that's where all those bricks came from that are on our
That's
patio.
so cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
When after the Covington location with the Wise Guy Lounge, every location after that, were y'all thinking we have to do the Wise Guy with
well-
it? Or were y'all ever looking at just pizzeria spots as well?
So we went back to just the slice model. We call them slice joints. So after distillery, big success, we went to Indianapolis and did one with the Wise Guy Lounge. And we noticed that our model for Mill Street is just so much more profitable, right? Lower overhead, less staff to run the restaurant.
Not worrying about liquor liability and all
exactly.
that. Everything that comes with it.
Someone, gets an altercation, you just push them out the front door. I mean, it's really, there's less risk, right? And we can do a lot more because the build outs are less. And we can go into this market or, this market there and just execute these faster. So we started, our first trial was after our downtown Indianapolis location. We're on Massachusetts Avenue, which is just a artery out of downtown. That was successful. So we just, hey, let's see if we can knock out some of these slice joints. So we went to an area called Broad Ripple, which is on the northern side of Indianapolis. It's a eclectic neighborhood, bars, restaurants, a lot of walking traffic. We're just going to put a Mill Street model here and see how it goes, because this might be our model. Well, it's successful. It's still there, but it just doesn't perform like Mill Street. Mill Street's an anomaly. It's where I get all my pizza. I love, it just holds a special place, right? It's the originating location, and Broad Ripple does well. So we were like, well, let's try it in another market, maybe more like a college market. And we found Bloomington, Indiana, and we went right across the street from the heaviest operator, like bar, Kilroy's, right there on campus. And it kind of performs like a Broad Ripple as well. It does well, but it's not killing it, right? Otherwise, we would have just been like, hey, I think this is our model. So then we realized, if we're focusing all our management and efforts and, reviewing insurance and all this other stuff that goes into doing a new location, we might as well go for larger sales. So we went back to the model with the Wise Guy Lounge. So that's where we opened our Chattanooga location, which is our largest location at about 11,000 square feet. It's a beautiful build. It's an old ice house. So we always go into unique properties. That's kind of our thing. Our Massachusetts Avenue property is a new build, a mixed use, but it's in a very heavy walking traffic area. We went into a neighborhood in Cincinnati called Pleasant Ridge. It's an old historic building. It's got a great story. It was like an inn, and then it became a brothel, and we're like, this is going to be a great Goodfellas. So it's right on a hard corner of Montgomery and Ridge, and it's kind of like an entertainment little area with mom and pop businesses. So that's what we focus on to keep that culture of mom and pop, right? It's very important to us that we not only go into a community, but we be a part of the community instead of just coming in, operating, and, sending all the money back home, if you will. We actually give back. We contribute. We get involved with the schools. We get involved with the, local T-ball team. We try to do what we can in our communities. And that's kind of our recipe for keeping that mom and pop culture instead of just, as we're growing, becoming more corporate, if you will.
I love that, the distillery district's been, like you said, your flagship location. It's been busiest. But you've stayed true to your model. You could have just said, okay, this is a massive space in like a destination area. We're just going to focus on going to destination areas, doing massive space, maybe even doing new builds. But you've kind of really stayed true to your identity of, we're going to revitalize kind of some older buildings. They got a story. We're going to be part of rebuilding these pockets in these cities instead of just going to Hamburg and building this, new build out and, blowing it up. You're like, no, we want to be part of fixing the problem instead of just going to this new side of town.
There was a fork in the road where, hey, I've got this land. I'm going to give you all this TI, tenant improvement allowances and give you some money to build this space out in a place like a Hamburg or whatever. And, nothing against Hamburg. It's just we don't want to do that cookie cutter model where we look like, every other Burger King or Applebee's, where it just follows the same design elements and the same footprints or similar footprints. We want to go in, and I don't know why, we want to go into something super challenging that costs twice as much. And that's how it works out. I mean, it's, there's always a problem. Like the structural integrity of this building isn't going to work. You're going to have to put $150,000 worth of steel in it. We're just like, okay. But we believe that character, and we actually let those buildings shine. So again, this is the real estate mind. People gravitate to something unique instead of your typical thing that they can find on every corner. So when you have a unique build in a unique space with a unique product, that's what we feel is the recipe for success.
Yeah. Well, it makes me want to actually go to your other locations in the other cities and actually like visit them and see them, because I'm hearing about some of these buildings and I'm like, I really want to check this out. I mean, it sounds cool. It's just like the James Pepper location or even just the downtown location. I mean, anytime I walk into the downtown location, I just smile because I'm like, it's a little tiny building and they're just like crushing it. Yeah. It's just awesome.
That was built with just the energy of a New York slice joint, right? So we did so many visits. We used to take our staff to like New York City and just kind of get that culture and that vibe. And like, here's a slice joint. Here's another one. It's got an old, feel to it. It's an 1800s building. And that's what you find in Brooklyn, something like that. And that's the energy. And then, when we first started opening, like we just bang Dean Martin all day long out in the streets and just get, that Italian flags flying. And this is what our pizzeria is. And this is our culture. This is our brand. And that's what we try to bring to all these cities. And you've got to get your team to buy in. That's what you're really doing. Like, do you buy into this brand and what we're doing? Because it's really simple. It's the best pizza someone's ever had. That's the goal. If we didn't hit it with that customer, we've got to do better. That is what we're trying to do every single time. Is that the best old-fashioned you've ever had? No, we've got to do better. So it's always constantly trying to push the envelope to be the best, because that's what our customer deserves. They keep the lights on. They keep all of this going. And I'm an ultimate customer as well. I know what I want when I go in a restaurant. I want to feel like my dollar's value, like I'm important to this business, to this restaurant. Come over, give me some service. Like I'm here, I'm your guest. Just like if they come into our house, that's what we always say. This is our home. Take care of our people. They're guests of ours. And that's what we try to keep that vibe going.
Yeah.
Everywhere we go. It's difficult.
It is difficult. We'll have employees, a customer will come at 9:59 and we close at 10, and employees start rolling their eyes and I'm like, no, like I might sign your paycheck, but that person fills your paycheck.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter if they come at 9:59 or 12 o'clock, lunch. Yeah. We need those people, and every single one matters.
And you need to make them just feel welcome.
Yeah.
Right? They're in here. They might have had a rough day. We say all the time, hey, change their day with a slice of pizza, right? So someone might be having a horrible day, but you can fix their day with just a smile and a slice. It's really simple to do. It's hard to stay focused on that, because we get involved in our day-to-day operation. Oh, I got to go count bottles of booze or do this and do that. But you can, we talk about a 30-second relationship because we want to move that line. But you want to make every single person feel welcome and important when they come through the line. So, hey, how you doing? And then pick up on something and make them your best friend in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, don't make it robotic, though. Welcome to Moe's. No, that's not what we do at Goodfellas. Just say, how you going? Or how's your day going? Pretty good. Oh, man, I like that watch. Or, man, I got those shoes. Or just whatever. Pick up on something or start talking about the weather. Whatever. Just be a real human. Have
Right.
real human interaction. Make them feel welcome.
Well, we've kind of forgotten how to do that too.
Yeah, we have. I mean, people are scared to talk to each other now because we do so much interaction on social media, and we need to just everyone just take a step back and enjoy each other's company. And that's why we don't like that delivery model. We're not just trying to fill your stomach. We want you to come in and have the Goodfellas experience. So our mission's really simple. It's to deliver the best pizza and drinking experience. It's real simple. Just keep it simple. So that's what we always point to. We have it up in all the shops in the back of the house. The best pizza and drinking experience. So, yeah, that's part of our culture and our brand. That's what we try to bring. And, we've super blessed. Things are going our way. We've got 2 new locations coming up, one in Columbus in an old historic building in the Short North District, which is a very artsy, walkable district. We've been targeting that for about 8 years. We're very patient. We do not have anybody to answer to. It's just me and my business partner, Eric. And so when we see something and we zone in on it, that's what we want, and we're going to wait. And sure enough, the property that we engaged 7 years ago was an old dry cleaner. It's cool. It corners the Short North entrance. Big wrought iron entrance to the Short North, and our building's right there on the right. But we targeted that. They didn't like us. Ownership changed. We engaged again. Sure enough, there it is.
That's awesome.
Nashville, gearing up. We'll be ready for next year's SEC tournament. We're right off Broadway in the North Gulch area. We're going to be next to Pins Mechanical, which is killing it. They focus on video games and duck pin bowling. And then we share a wall with a new concept they're going to hit about $20 million this year. It's called Putt Shack. It's kind of like adult playground with putt inside with lots of bars and heavy music. It's awesome. Great concept.
Where are you in relation to the pool bar? You know what I'm talking about? There's a pool bar. It's what's that spaghetti joint down there?
The Spaghetti Factory?
Spaghetti Factory. There's like a pool bar.
So
then
you're
there's the ice
probably
cream
south,
shop.
like on 2nd Ave.
Okay.
The Gulch is pretty popular for people who just don't want to rage the whole time that they're down in Nashville.
Right.
Like they want something off strip. And there's a place called Biscuit Love.
Okay.
You know what Biscuit Love is? So that's the South Gulch. That's south of Broadway. And there's Emmy Squared Pizza Place, really good pizza. Then there's also a couple other great restaurants and bars down that way. But if you go north, that's where all the new development's going on. And there's this Pins Mechanical, which is in an old building, which I love the old building, but we're actually going to do a mixed use. And, it's just Nashville. Nashville's got cranes up all over the city. There's so many people moving today.
Right.
I mean, it is booming. We will be right across the street from an Edition Hotel, which is a European boutique hotel concept to the 9. So we're in a great little area of growth and development for downtown Broadway area, but it's also off strip so that, your bachelorette parties who want to break from night 2 can come in, go play some putt and get some pizza and kind of hang out. And
I'm interested to see that. I have a feeling that could be your biggest location once it gets rolling.
oh, they're forecasting us to do 8 million.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm like, we sell $3 slices of pizza, right? $4 slices of pizza.
Yeah.
They're like, we've been to your Chattanooga location. That's why they liked us so much. We got picked out of a hat of all these LOIs. They wanted us. And we were, let's see here. Yeah, the Chattanooga location, it's really cool. It's a multi-level too. So the landlord gave us the basement. He's like, I got this basement. I'm not going to use it. Do you want it? We're like, great. So it's, like 6,000 on top, 6,000 on the bottom. And that's where we did this. The Wise Guy Lounge is in the basement. We've never done it in the basement, but we made it look like it's the entrance to a New York City subway with like green rails. And then it's got
That's cool.
It's got like Wise Guy Lounge and then the 1, 2, 3 with the dots. And so you're going into the Wise Guy Lounge. Then it opens up and it's got all this like small mosaic tile and crystal chandeliers. And it's like you entered into the Wise Guy Lounge, like an underground speakeasy from the 1920s. It's really cool.
You should have a door guard down there, you know.
Well, we have to because it's so popular. Like we have that line backs up the stairs, so we've got.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's it's pretty cool. You should check it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe you should build a subway down there to create some more space.
Yeah. There is a lot of space, but it rocks and rolls. But that was the attraction to the Nashville group. They were there and they had a good time and really liked what we got. So they said, "We want you, and can you make it happen?" We just jumped on it. We didn't even hesitate because we've been targeting Nashville for about a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, sit still until you find the right one. We liked 12 South. We liked East Nashville. There was a time we looked down Charlotte Ave. We had a property we could purchase for, I don't know, $10 million on 2nd Street. We're like, we can't do that. But 7 years ago, we had an opportunity to buy the building across the street from Bridgestone for $3 million. Just didn't have the capital at the time. So everything happens for a reason. Let's see here. I wanted to touch on something else.
Well, I want to touch on the Barstool Sports Review.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. I know that was a lot of Lexingtonians got really pissed off at Barstool Sports. I think I actually unfollowed him after that.
Buddy, it was a nightmare. It really was a huge challenge for us. Just, mentally, it was big time. So I'll never forget it, ever. I don't think anybody who really knows Goodfellas will forget. I get it all the time, too. I'll be traveling, and the valet guy sees I got a Goodfellas sticker on the back of my truck, and he's like, "Is it Goodfellas Lexington 0.0?" He's like, "Man, I drove all the way up from Nashville to try the worst pizza in the nation. It's really good." I'm like, "Well, thank you." He's like, "Will you take a picture with me?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll take a picture with you." But so anyways, for anyone who doesn't know the story, let me see here. That was 13 years in. So 2000, what year was it? 18? Yeah, it was in October. My years get mixed up, but it was 13 years into our operation. We're 18, so 5 years ago. There you go. So we 3 months prior to the 0.0 incident with Dave Portnoy, we heard that Mr. Portnoy was in Indianapolis, and he had done a review at our spot. We're like, "Oh, man, we didn't even prep for it. Oh, my gosh, what's going on?" Because we knew all about Dave. I mean, this is our industry, and he's raw and edgy, and he, speaks his mind, and he's a jerk, and we kind of like it. Goodfellas, whatever,
Yeah.
speaks his mind. So, holy cow, he went to the shop. What happened? So we're diving in, and the review pops up. And he had visited 3. And the first one he went to was, forgot the exact name of the pizza place, but the lady owns Patachou, which is a great pizza place, and it's also a great breakfast place. Patachou is, and she's a great operator. But he gave that pizzeria like a 4.5 or something. Said it was horrible, swimming in a pool of cheese, whatever. You know how Dave goes. And then next up was Goodfellas, and it showed our sign. We're like, "Oh, man, what's going on?" Because we didn't get any feedback from the GM at the time. It happened so quick. But anyways, he came in, got the pizza, and he got a whole pie, and he went out to the street to do his review and started talking about Goodfellas and, Sinatra's on the wall and all of our gangster stuff. And he had that slice, and he gave it an 8.1. And he said, "We were ranked among the gods. This is football pizza. I'm proud of these guys. They do really good pizza here in Indy." And he ranked us among the gods, is what he said. And then he reviewed another one and gave them a 4.4 and said, "Indy's got crap pizza, but Goodfellas is where you go when you're in Indy." So we're like, "All right, we're feeling pretty good, right?" 3 months later, we knew he was going to be in town for Rough and Rowdy, which is his boxing thing he does when it was at the Applebee's Park at the time. And we knew that he was going to be in town. So we sent out a memo with a picture that said, if this guy comes in, make sure he gets good pizza. Oh, yeah, boss. Yeah, we got you. No, seriously, this guy is going to come here because everybody is going to tell him to come to Goodfellas. So be ready. We got you. It's like, all right. So a little bit of a backstory to why the finger point, get out type deal. You got to leave my patio if you don't have permission. Maybe a couple weeks before his visit, we always get a lot of people come down and take videos and pictures. It's a great backdrop, right? Prom pictures, people trying to shoot their products. And we had someone on our pool table in some like lingerie taking pictures during the day without being announced. And we were like, okay, we've got to put a stop to kind of what's going on here. And so we sent out a memo that said,
Wait. Just middle of the day, somebody just walked up on your pool table with lingerie on?
there was something questionable about someone on the pool table. I was not there to witness, but there was a chick on our pool table, and she was, yes, we've got kids and families there. Like, give us some notice. We love to help out, but you've got to give us some notice on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to shoot your product, cool, we'll block it off, whatever, we'll make it work. But that's where the memo came out. Hey, if anyone doesn't have permission to shoot photography, video, anything without asking us first, then they're not permitted. So that had come out 2 weeks prior to the memo that Dave's going to be in town. Okay, so the night Mr. Portnoy shows up to Goodfellas. He comes in unannounced. He seemed a little grumpy on his video. Comes in, we completely didn't know who he was, and we serve him a bad slice of pizza. And this is where it just kind of went out of control. We gave him an old slice of pizza, didn't heat it back up in the oven, completely against what we're supposed to be doing, right? You are supposed to give every customer the best slice of pizza they've ever had in their life. That's the goal. Well, we missed the mark, and that's really what happened. We didn't serve a guest correctly. So he goes outside to do his review and starts, this is a horrible looking slice. It's not even hot. And then someone says, is it a 9.0 or whatever? He's like, no, this is horrible pizza. And he takes a bite. And here comes our manager on duty and says, hey, do you have permission to shoot video on? Because I think he realized at the time that was the guy, because we sent out the memo. Here's a picture of the guy. Oh, crap, we just gave this person a bad slice of pizza. So he comes out and says, you got to go. And the rest is history, right? Perfect storm. Oh, yeah, you're going to kick me out? I'm a national pizza reviewer with 7.7 million followers, or whatever it is. You've messed up. 0.0. Everyone get these guys. So he released the hounds, the stoolies, and our social media just blew up. Our Yelp, I think, went down to a 0.5 or something. I mean, in a matter of hours, it was crazy. I remember that was on a Thursday. Yes, that was a Thursday night. And we knew he was in town. But they tell me, I walk into the office the next day, Friday, and they said, Dave was in the shop last night. It's like, oh, yeah, what happened? Did we get a 9? Or because we got an 8.1. Did he give us something really good? They're like, well, we kind of had a problem. I'm like, you had a problem? What do you mean you had a problem? Well, we kind of kicked him out. I was like, you did what? You kicked out Dave Portnoy? So I kind of went Italian and started throwing stuff and getting really upset. I was like, what do you mean? We even sent out a memo? What are you talking about? So, well, we told him he couldn't, film. And maybe because it's on private property, he's not going to release this. So I was like, you better hope so. So Friday goes by and there's no video. Saturday goes by and there's no video. It's like Sunday goes by, no video. 6 p.m. Sunday, I'm sitting down with my family having dinner. And my phone just starts going crazy. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, just bing, 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 bing. I was like, what the heck is this? It's like, uh-oh, there it is. And it was crazy. We got death threats. They found my operations manager, his home phone number, called and threatened his wife. just crazy stuff. We had to leave the phone off the hook because it called every 20 seconds, and it was just, fake order or someone talking, trash. It was insane. I really thought that this was the end of our business that we had worked really, really hard to build over 13 years. I was like, this is how it ends, like this. Like, people are going to stop coming to our place, or it's over. And I remember reading every single review. I stayed up all night, did not go to sleep. I remember watching the sun come up in my sunroom. And finally, about maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock, I go and I just lay down. I'm like, I give up. I quit. And then there's that voice in your head, right? So it kind of does that Rocky Balboa, like, you didn't hear a bell. Get up. Go to work. So I remember I got in the shower, shaved, got ready, went into the office, and there's just everyone. Boggs is there too. We're like, what are we going to do? It's like, we're going to get to work. A customer got a bad slice of pizza. That's what this is. He's a national reviewer, but at the end of the day, we've gone against what we stand for, and we're going to fix it. And that's where we started getting creative. We're like, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle it? We can't answer all these reviews. We can't make a statement. They're just going to trash the statement. So we went radio silent, and we came up with this idea for a T-shirt to take the word Goodfellas and take the 2 O's and embrace the 0.0 with the 2 O's and then surround it by Barstool. And we're like, this is going to be a reminder that we're never going to serve a guest a bad slice of pizza again. And we made that kind of statement, or that mantra, if you will. We are going to ride this. We're going to learn from our mistakes. We're going to accept it. We're going to apologize and move on. But this is a reminder, and we still have that T-shirt. It's Goodfellas, and the 2 O's are the 0.0. So we're like, it's a really good idea. Let's roll with this. But when do we actually make a statement, or how do we correct? Because that would be Monday. We had the idea for this T-shirt, but then just all the news started calling and wanting to report on it. And I remember taking every single outlet I could. I took Channel 18, 27, just got in front of the camera and said, you know what? Here's what happened. We made a mistake, and we own the mistake, and we're going to make it right because customers don't deserve this. Forget that it's Dave Portnoy. This is a customer situation. And then the crowd started showing up, because this was like first thing, breaking news. It's crazy, a pizza place, breaking news. I mean, we were in the Washington Post, the New York Post. We were all over the news. A pizza place gets a 0.0. They're getting trashed. Because our Yelp seriously was like, I don't know, 4.8. We were killing it to like a 0.5 in like a day.
Were you able to report those and get them taken off?
We tried, and it wasn't coming down at first. And then I don't think Yelp had ever experienced something like that. And then they realized, wow, it went from here to here. Okay, maybe we need to look into this as a company. So we actually kind of broke ground with Yelp on something where the reporting the reviews, they took pretty serious, and they were taking them down. Google, on the other hand, it's a challenge. They don't really take them off. Anyways, took every news interview I could, got in front of the camera and just talked to the people of Lexington and said, hey, help us out. If you like Goodfellas, come support us. And we had lines at all of our locations, Indy, Cincy, Lexington. They showed up to support at 11 a.m. We had lines throughout the day. And it was really, it was a great feeling to know that people love your brand and what you do and what you've worked so hard for, to show up and support you in that sense and come to aid, right? All of these stoolies from wherever, Seattle or all over the globe are talking very badly about our brand. And then we got Lexington people trash talking right back. It was just like a battle. It was amazing. It was nonsense. I mean, a big roller coaster, and just the support was huge, and just we thank all of those people who came to aid and supported us. Not only that, but just, battled back on social media without fear. Like, oh yeah, I mean, they were threatening to physically do stuff. Our people were physically going to do stuff. It's just crazy. So let's see here. Yeah, so that's all going on. We started getting the support, and we realized we were going to be okay. So maybe a week after, we came out with the statement hitting Barstool back saying, hey, we made a mistake. It was an off day for us. We really hope you would come back and try what Goodfella's Pizzeria really is. You're a guest, and you didn't deserve that. You didn't need to be kicked out. But first and foremost, you got a bad slice of pizza. So let us make it up to you. And he said, I really like this. I mean, he went openly and said, I'm rallying for Goodfellas now, because we actually closed down our shops for a day to kind of retrain on our staff. Like, this is important. This is what we're going to do. We heat up our slices. We do it this. Pizza doesn't sit up there that long, this type of thing. Because if you're not familiar with Goodfellas, we have ready-made pizza by the slice, so it moves the line really quick. So you can come in, point to what you want, and if it's been sitting there for over 10 minutes, it goes back in the oven, just like in New York City. It crisps right back up, and you're good to go. Well, we missed that step. So, we realized we were going to be okay. And then we released that statement. It was a picture of me holding this steaming slice of pizza. We kind of improvised. We got that pan really hot and hit some drops of water on it with the photo, and it made it look like it was just big steaming slice, but then with the Goodfellas t-shirt behind the slice. And it's just kind of a reminder.
Was it the one with the O and the O?
Yeah. Yeah. So we embraced it and said, you know what? We're going to learn and move forward. And we're all humans. We all make mistakes. So instead of just coming back, oh, yeah, well, you were drunk, Dave. And no, we did screw up.
Yeah.
So we got to own it and learn from it.
Typically, when people own their mistakes and they're not defensive, it goes so much better. People that just don't get that, it always blows my mind when they just instantly turn on that defense and start explaining things and making excuses. Like, just it's Jocko Willick's book, Extreme Ownership, man.
Jocko,
I mean, when you just own up to things, it just always goes so much better. Like, yeah, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I'll learn my lesson. I'll do it better.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Own it. Say, I made a mistake, but learn from your mistakes.
Right.
If you don't learn, then you're just repeating bad problems.
Do you feel like right around that time when that review came out, you guys had lost a little bit of your culture of, we're going to serve the best slice of pizza to everyone. And that was a good reminder of, hey, we gotta make sure that our systems and processes are in place. Like we've lost a little bit of our vision, like not the whole vision, but we've gotten distracted and we haven't maintained this. It's not like we're on Main Street anymore. You're on Mill, with one location, and we're in there every day. We got a big company now in multiple cities, and we've lost a little piece of this, and this was a good wake-up call, and we got to make sure that every slice is perfect.
It's a great wake-up call. I mean, Dave's not the only one who's gotten a cold slice of pizza. It happens. We need to come up with systems and reminders like this that say, hey, get it right. Put yourself on the other side of the register. You're a customer at places. So that's what we keep saying. It's like, if it's not good enough for mom, don't put it across the counter.
Right.
People work hard for their money. Even if it's $4, that's hard-earned dollars. Make sure that their experience is good. So it's a great reminder. I mean, it's unfortunate. It was a huge, traumatic experience for us as, business operators. But, I'm glad it happened. It made us better. It's made us the most famous pizzeria in the nation. I mean, it has.
Yeah. You got people driving up from Nashville to try the worst pizza in the world.
So, yeah, exactly. It's 5 years later, and I think we got, 15, 20 one-star reviews last week saying ice cold, igloo, Dave's the Prez for life, whatever. It's still going on.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And
I would have thought people would have forgotten about it.
oh no, they always, every year, they always bring that video back because they want clicks.
Yeah,
So we got to go through the whole cycle again.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then fast forward a couple years later after the incident, Dave wants me to get on a podcast with him and talk about the situation and how it affected us. I was like, I got a call from some guy out of Chicago, and he's like, you want to get on this podcast with Dave? I was like, heck no, man. I'm trying to let that be in the past. I'm not getting on there. You guys are going to sabotage the conversation. It's going to start this fuss again because I know what your goal is. You want clicks. So let's start it up again. I was like, no, I'm out. He hit me up 3 months later. Hey, this is serious. We want to come at you with, this isn't a sabotage situation. We want to just hear the story. It'll be good. It's like, okay, we'll try it. So I got on that podcast with Dave, the Dave Portnoy Show, and talked about the situation and how we addressed it, about the T-shirt, how we just embraced a mistake. And he's like, you know what? I'm a big cheerleader. We got his thumbs up, but we still get all these negative reviews. But he said, you guys are good in my book. I'll come back and give you a try. And he did. He came back. He gave us a 7.7, which is forgettable. It's nothing great. But he did come back and gave us another shot. So I thank him for that. But it was a challenging point.
I bet. I bet it more than anything, it just had to mess with you mentally and just be this big distraction, right? Like you're trying to sit here and focus on the operations of your business and taking care of your employees, taking care of your customers, and then you get these phone calls and these bad reviews, and it's just like always just pulling your brain this way and that way.
Yes. It was very challenging. We always trying to improve our process for our customers and for our associates. Like we say, it's family, right? Goodfella's family, whether you're a customer or an associate or a team member. That's what we're trying to build. That's at the heart of everything. It's very important to Boggs and myself, is how we take care of our staff and our customers. And I think that's that's the success, right? If you really care, you put effort into it and not just say, yeah, we're killing it, we're moving. No, you got to work at this. This is a business. It's work for a reason. So, Portnoy he did distract us, and it was stressful and mentally draining, but it did refocus us. And we need to remember that.
Yeah. So we talked about the new locations that you guys are rolling out here in the next few months. Let's kind of just rewind a little bit and just touch on some of the biggest lessons you've learned that you feel like that's made you guys unique and special, and also that's just helped you guys as business owners and entrepreneurs. That's really helped catapult you guys forward.
Well, a lot of finance things. Coming from an accounting background, studied the numbers hard. That's really first and foremost. This is a business, right? We like to have fun. We want a good product, but we have to manage it. We also say something to Goodfellas: if it can't be measured, it can't be managed. So we have to measure our progress. We have to measure everything in order to manage it. So some of the things over the last 18 years that has helped us dial in that improvement or improving the management is like, budgeting, making sure that we're hitting these numbers and how to create a budget, and then also including our general managers of the stores in that process so they have this ownership mentality. That is something that we've learned and tried to involve the team members in, is understanding this. Run it like this is your business. Like you have all the skin in the game and your employee called off. What are you going to do? Your vendor didn't bring you tomatoes correctly. What are you going to do? This is how we've built the business, is by being concerned with every aspect and understanding. I mean, to start this, I had to be the IT guy. Boggs had to be the delivery guy. We had to do every single thing to make it work. I had to learn how to network and learn how the audio system works. Get up in the rafters and run this wire. Crawl under the basement because we got a leak and I got to fix it and don't have enough money for a plumber. Get the Sawzall out and some glue and some PVC and fix it. That's an owner. That is a true ownership mentality, right? I own this. I got to take care of it or it's not going to be here. Or I'm not going to be able to function because my sink doesn't work. So we're trying to push our staff, our team members, our leadership to have this mentality. And also something we've developed is, don't bring me problems. Bring problems with solutions. Hey, you've got this vendor didn't show up. What's the solution? Don't look to us for the solution. I've got my ideas or my troubleshooting. What do you got? Well, we got A, B, and C. Well, which one do you think's best? Well, B. Let's try B. Let them fail. Let them learn. Try it again. It's kind of where we're at with empowering the staff. Taking care of the staff is huge to us. We have an associate who's been with us 18 years.
That's awesome.
We have associates been with us 16 years, 15 years. We've got a lot of tenured staff members. They started off as dough guys or pizza guys and have, grown into management. They just kind of learn and, hey, I need you to do this. Okay, I'll get it done. It's the will to win instead of excuses. Well, I can't do it because of this. No, it's, hey, give it a shot. Well, that didn't work. Learn. And it's just great because we increase every year, on merit, or we always try to say, hey, here's what you got to do. If you really want to jump to this level in your salary, we need you to do A, B, and C. Learn something, take a class, get certified, do something else, take another leap into a different position, relocate. These are things that we try to encourage, and we want to take care of you. It's always better to have someone from within the company that knows the brand and the culture and the history and the Dave Portnoy's and everything to get the next level instead of bringing in an outsider who knows nothing about your business but has all this experience. Experience is good, though. We recently took on a director of operations out of Miami who's very successful in what he does. He saw our growth potential, and he took a gamble with us, but we're learning so much from him. Again, surround yourself by people that know more than you. Didn't know how to make pizza? Get a pizza guy to work with. Didn't know anything about a bar? Get a bar guy. Don't know how to take 10 units to 25 units? Get someone who has.
Yeah.
But right now is a very challenging time because of that mom and pop system that we've had for 10 units. It's not going to work for 20. You can't just say, oh, that's okay that, this customer slipped and fell and you didn't get an incident report. That might have worked in years past where we didn't get sued, but now it's very important to make sure that you get all that information so that you don't lose your ass in court.
Yep. We got Morgan and Morgan on us right now.
That's right. There you go. We got to come up with systems that can make life a little less stressful instead of, oh, you had 2 people call off. What do we do? Well, we've got a plan for that now. You don't have to stress.
Yeah.
These are the systems that he's bringing to the table.
Systems and processes are so important.
Yeah.
They are so important for scalability. Sometimes people can over systemize things to where then there's no creativity, ever allowed. But there's certain things that, man, you just gotta have systems like the pizza deal, you served a cold pizza. Okay, every pizza needs to have a timer on it, and it's got a 10-minute timer. When the timer goes off, you stick it back in the oven, period. That's just the system, our custard only holds for 2 hours. So guess what?
Yeah.
We have a label maker that will print out a sticker of when that custard in that bucket will expire in 2 hours. And we stick it on the lid of the bucket every single time we run custard.
And then you also have a par level, so you don't make 25 gallons or whatever.
Right.
You cut the right level. So you study numbers. Hey, on Tuesday, we only make this much.
Right.
That way you minimize your waste.
Exactly.
It's a process.
Yeah.
We're learning all the time.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you want to add before we sign off?
You want to talk about Desperados, though?
Yeah, we can throw Desperados in there real quick. So that was another huge challenge. We love challenges, right? What happened there is Desperados is our new LA-style taco mezcal tequila bar down in the Distillery District, James Pepper campus. And we didn't really want to get into this, but we saw an opportunity, and we love tacos, tequila. Boggs and myself actually went out to LA. We tandemed that trip with the Pizza Expo and got some really good experience with LA tacos. And we're like, this is what we need to do back at this space. So after COVID, Mark Jensen with the Middle Fork restaurant, excellent restaurant. Mark Jensen's probably one of the best chefs I think we've had locally. His restaurant, the Middle Fork, he decided to just shutter the doors. It was doing well, doing great. He just kind of got tired, especially after COVID, like a lot of operators did, and just couldn't deal with the staffing issues and the supply chain shortages and going for this product, it's not there, substituting this. He just said, guys, I'm out. I mean, I think we even approached him and asked if he would just continue to operate, and we would, be partners or be the operating side, and he could just cook or, chef. And Tony Higdon again, landlord, comes to us and is like, hey, guys, Mark's out, and I'm coming to you first to see if you have an idea what could go in here. And we're like, actually, we do. We got a great idea, and we know it'll be smash hit, right? He's like, well, let me know what your idea is, and I'm talking to some people. He, anyways, eventually settled on us with our concept, and it's scratch tacos and tequila. It's really simple. Margaritas, big assortment of, aged tequilas, mezcals. We feel that that's the next bourbon, if you will. A lot of people are into tequila and mezcal right now.
I've heard more people getting into the kind of just sipping tequila.
Oh, yeah.
And all that.
So a lot of tequilas aged in bourbon barrels. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's got the sweetness. A lot of vanilla notes come out. Some similar features to or attributes to bourbon. So it made sense for us, and we love tacos and salsas. So the concept was we're going to do scratch-made tortillas, flour, corn, bold flavored meats, and just keep it really simple, but also have all of these rotating salsas. So different salsas, and we're still working on a lot of that and the processes. And we're like, this is going to be Goodfellas with just a different menu, right? It's going to be easy. Not so much. We really like challenges. It's been super challenging to just switch to a completely different model or concept, and I can't believe how much the differences there are between the two. We still kept the same quick service, the point of sale, the quick service restaurant concept where you line up and then it just rotates the restaurant really well. Everyone always asks us, why do you guys not have servers? It's because we want that entertainment dining experience, right? So it's not just, hey, you sit with your four top there the whole time and you don't meet anybody else. There's activity, there's movement, it's just entertainment, it's energy. So we kept the same type of model where you line up, you say, hey, I want these tacos, and it comes out to your table. And who knew that it would have that much of a challenge? But it's a huge success. We're killing it down there. Everyone loves it. We're just trying to figure out some processes that will improve that guest experience, because that's what it's all about. We want the best tacos and tequila experience now. So stay tuned on that. We've been open since December, and summer is upon us, and we've got a great patio. We took the concrete patio, if you will, that was just had tables and chairs, and we put a brand new building, like a garage style building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the concept was, what is this concept? What is it going to be named? And we came up with desperados. Like we've got this East Coast gangster, the Goodfella. Well, what would complement that to kind of give the kind of co-branding?
Yeah.
So we're going to go with the Western outlaw, the desperado. And this is going to be the cousin, if you will, on the West Coast to the Goodfella. Right?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So desperados. And, what's he doing? He's kind of, he's on his motorcycle. He's kind of going back between Mexico and Cali, and just kind of Sons of Anarchy, if you will, was kind of the thought. So we took the idea and we put an old gas station, like service station looking building on the patio with that awning, so it looks kind of like a service station. We did a big mural. Brandon Mullins did a great job with two like outlaws on motorcycles on the wall. And it's our LA style taco concept.
That's awesome. My wife and I went out there in like January, and I was like, "What is this?" I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh man, that's
So
awesome."
We're still working on lots of salsa rotations. We've kind of got our staples, but still we've got like black garlic habanero and just we got a coffee something or other that our chef Colin McQuarrie's done, and just really rotating through those salsas. And people are like, "Man, this is really unique. It's not just your table red and your green and your habanero. We've got some weird stuff going on." So
I remember the first time I went, the hardest decision was there's so many salsas to
Yeah.
choose from.
we love salsa, so I was like, let's do a bunch.
But that was the fun of it. Was like, all right, let's get a whole bunch, and that was
right.
the fun of the dinner. Was a bunch of people around the table, and we're all trying each other's salsas.
Yeah.
Like, oh, do you like this one? Do you like this one? And
Still trying to improve that system, right? We want everyone to get really hot chips, and then fresh salsa, and we've got to work on those par levels and how that rotates, because if you have that many and they're all fresh made, that's a lot of prep. So we're trying to work through that process.
Yep, and salsa doesn't last forever.
Yeah, and
Not when it's homemade.
that's right.
You know?
And we are crushing. I mean, people love the margarita. I mean, they're just crushing our margarita. So again, we're taking that craft mentality. We've got some really cool stuff with some mezcals and just these house-made syrups and shrubs and all this unique craft experience, instead of just, mixing two ingredients, a little margarita, whatever, pre-mixed stuff. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So we always sign off with, what's your favorite restaurant or what's your favorite bourbon? You can do one or the other or both.
Favorite restaurant in town? Gosh.
Yeah, it's got to be local.
That is crazy.
And you can't pick Culver's and you can't pick
Oh,
Goodfellas.
man, I was going to say Culver's. Let's see.
We've had some people cop out and just say Culver's. I'm like,
Yep. Man, I'm just such a foodie. I'm all over the place. Who does a rotating menu? Man, I can't. Favorite bourbon? I can't answer that one either. What are yours? Let's go. Let's see if we can start some conversation.
well, my probably favorite bourbon is 1792 Full Proof.
Okay, we've got those. We did 6 barrel picks of that. Come get you one.
yeah. And then I love
Nice.
the Elijah Craig toasted barrel.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with bourbon. Maybe a little bit easier. Without going expensive, I love my Willets and stuff.
Yeah,
but
just
those
go
are
to.
expensive. Yeah. And then I'm always a big Four Roses, like single barrel pick. Like those are always just solid.
Four Roses has a solid brand.
yeah.
They I don't feel like they'd put out anything that's just not top notch.
Yep. So right now for a restaurant, like new, I think I'm gonna go with something new. I'm really down at Grand Dam. So in the Manchester Hotel, yeah, that's something new, like different. Love the Lost Palm on top.
Yeah.
It's a cool spot to hang out. It's our neighbors, so I'm gonna pump them up a little bit. But I think they got a competitor coming down there, Mazunte. They got a great product too. But Grand Dam right now.
Yeah. I love it down there. My wife and I went not too long ago before it got cold, late fall, and we had a great experience. So.
Good.
Well, this has been a blessing.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
so much for coming on, and we'll put your stuff in the show notes, and everybody go get a slice.
Thank you.